There is a special hour in the night when the world is silent, when hearts are asleep, and when the noise of life fades away. In that sacred stillness, Allah calls out to His servants an invitation so intimate, so loving, that only the hearts awake to faith can truly hear it. The Prophet ﷺ said that in the last third of the night, Allah descends to the lowest heaven and asks, "Who is calling upon me so that I may answer him? Who is asking of me so that I may give him? Who is seeking my forgiveness so that I may forgive him?" This is not a story from the past. It's an open call that happens every single night, yet only a few, just the 1%, rise to respond. Tahajjud is not about sleeplessness or perfection, it's about love. It's about longing for Allah more than you long for comfort. It's about choosing Him over the warmth of your bed. The world doesn't see you at that hour. There's no applause, no praise, no recognition, but Allah sees you. The angels record your name among those who remembered their Lord when everyone else forgot. The stillness of the night becomes your secret meeting place with the one who knows your heart better than you do. There's something profound about the night prayer. It strips away distractions. During the day, your dua competes with your worries, your phone, your duties. But in Tahajjud, it's just you and Allah. There's no noise, no rush, no barrier. The tears that fall then are different. They are lighter, purer, healing tears. You speak without rehearsing. You ask without shame. You cry without words. And the one who listens already knows what you need. Many people think Tahajjud is only for the pious or the learned. But Allah never restricted His mercy to a group. Tahajjud is an invitation to every broken heart, every struggling soul, every believer who needs to recharge their faith. You don't have to pray for hours. Even 2 rakas whispered in sincerity can transform your life, because the value of Tahajjud is not in its length, it's in its sincerity. Allah doesn't measure the time you prayed, He measures the depth of your heart when you did. The Quran praises those who rise in the night. They arise from their beds, they supplicate their Lord in fear and hope, and they spend from what we have provided them. These are people who understand that this world is temporary, and that the real treasures are earned in the quiet moments of the night. Prophet Dawood was known for his devotion. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ never left the night prayer, and the righteous before us all cherished this time because they knew this was when destinies were rewritten. When you wake for Tahajjud, even if your eyes are heavy, even if you only manage a few words of dua, you are showing Allah that He matters most. You're saying, "Ya Allah, I trust you. I believe that you see me, that you hear me, and that my story is safe in your hands." And Allah never disappoints those who call upon Him with that faith. The doors of heaven open when you prostrate in the dark. Your worries begin to melt as His mercy descends. The peace you feel afterward cannot be described. It can only be experienced. So be among the 1% who respond to that nightly call. The ones who wake when the world sleeps, who speak to Allah when no one else is watching, who build their strength in silence. Because it is in those quiet moments that Allah prepares you for the blessings of the day, shapes your destiny, and writes your name among the beloved. And if you make Tahajjud a habit, you'll find that the one you speak to in the darkness will illuminate every darkness in your life. There is a stillness in the final part of the night that carries a sacred weight. The world is asleep, streets are silent, hearts are resting, yet in that quiet moment the heavens awaken with mercy. This is the time Allah has chosen to invite His servants closer, a time when distractions fade and sincerity shines. The Prophet ﷺ described this moment vividly, saying that in the last third of the night, Allah descends to the lowest heaven and asks, "Who is calling upon me so that I may answer him? Who is asking of me so that I may give him? Who is seeking my forgiveness so that I may forgive him?" Imagine that the Creator of the universe, the one who sustains every heartbeat, calling out to His creation with love and mercy. It is not you who chooses the night, it is Allah who calls your heart toward it. This sacred hour is unlike any other. It is not measured by time but by sincerity. When you wake up in those quiet minutes before Fajr, when the world is wrapped in darkness and silence, you step into a moment that angels witness with awe. The air feels different. It carries a tranquility that cannot be felt during the rush of the day. You are not competing for attention, not performing for anyone else, not seeking approval. It is only you and Allah. That is the essence of Tahajjud, the purest connection between servant and master. The veil between heaven and earth feels thinner then, and every word whispered in dua carries a special weight. The night prayer has always been a sign of deep faith. It's not an obligation, yet it was the habit of the most beloved to Allah. The Prophet ﷺ would stand so long in prayer that his feet would swell, and when asked why he endured such difficulty, when all his sins were already forgiven, he said, "Should I not be a grateful servant?" Gratitude is what drives the believer to rise when others sleep. It's not only the need for something that wakes them, it's love. Love for the one who never abandons, gratitude for the one who continues to give. When you wake for Tahajjud, you are answering a call that most of the world ignores. You are choosing Allah over comfort, eternity over momentary ease. The Quran beautiful describes the people of the night in Surah As-Sajjad. Their sides forsake their beds, they supplicate their Lord in fear and hope, and they spend from what we have provided them. It is such a gentle yet powerful image. Believers turning away from sleep, not because they don't need rest, but because their hearts are restless for something greater. They pray not out of fear alone but out of hope that Allah will hear them, forgive them, and guide them. They trade the softness of their beds for the softness of tears shed in prayer, and Allah records them among the most honored of His servants. Every minute of Tahajjud holds opportunities unseen during the day. This is the time when destinies are written, when hearts are healed, when sins are erased, and when dua pierces the heavens without obstruction. Allah in His infinite mercy chose the quietest time of night to be the time of acceptance. There's wisdom in that silence. The fewer distractions, the purer the intention. When you lift your hands in that hour, the angels write your requests, and Allah Himself promises to listen. There is no queue, no waiting line, no barriers. The distance between your heart and His mercy collapses. For those who have experienced it, Tahajjud feels like a secret doorway into peace. The world is asleep, yet you're awake in worship, enveloped in divine attention. You begin to feel that this is where you truly belong, not in the noise of the world, but in the stillness of His remembrance. This is the hour where worries melt and where faith is renewed. It is the silent hour of divine invitation, where Allah calls and the hearts that answer find themselves drawn closer to a love that never fades. There is something profoundly humbling about being among the few who respond to Allah's call when the rest of the world is asleep. The 1% who rise for Tahajjud are not necessarily the wealthiest, the strongest, or the most learned. They are simply the ones whose hearts refuse to stay asleep when their Lord calls. Each one of them fights a silent battle against their own comfort, their own desires, and the whispers that tell them to stay in bed just a little longer. Yet they push through the weight of sleep, driven by a quiet conviction that this sacrifice is worth more than any worldly treasure. It is not the act of waking up itself that makes them special, it's the intention behind it. Their hearts ache for closeness to Allah, for a few private moments where they can speak directly to Him without interruption or judgment. When a believer wakes in the depths of night, they are performing an act of surrender that few truly understand. The warmth of the blanket, the softness of the bed, and the heaviness of the eyelids all pull them back into rest, but something deeper pulls them upward. That something is the gentle tug of Iman, the unseen invitation from the Most Merciful. It is Allah Himself who wakes the heart before the body, who plants that thought in the mind, get up and pray. The Quran describes the people of faith as those who forsake their beds, and that image carries more meaning than meets the eye. To forsake one's bed is to forsake comfort, ease, and self-centeredness for the sake of divine nearness. Every time a believer responds to that call, they are choosing the eternal over the temporary, the unseen over the seen, the soul over the body. There's a reason why the people who pray Tahajjud are described with such honor in the Quran and Sunnah. It's because they are a minority, a rare group who have tasted the sweetness of standing before Allah when the world is dark. Their hearts become alive with remembrance. They are not motivated by public recognition or praise. In fact, no one may ever know their names or their sacrifices. But Allah knows. He sees the one who rubs their eyes in exhaustion and still says, "Ya Allah, I need you." He hears the whisper of a broken heart, the tear that falls without a sound, the soft voice that trembles as it asks for forgiveness. These are not grand gestures in the eyes of people, but in the sight of Allah, they are mighty acts of devotion. Many people look for miracles during the day, yet the real miracles often happen at night. Tahajjud is where lives are quietly transformed, where faith is rekindled, and where hope is restored. The believer who stands in prayer at that hour begins to see the world differently. Their heart becomes softer, their tongue becomes more grateful, and their perspective shifts from complaint to contentment. The pain that once felt unbearable becomes lighter because they've shared it with the one who can heal it. They begin to notice how Allah answers them in ways that words can't describe, how an unexpected ease comes after hardship, how a door opens where they thought none existed, how a deep sense of calm settles where anxiety once lived. To be among the 1% who wake for tahajjud is not about perfection, it's about persistence. Even if they fall short, even if they miss nights, they keep trying. They understand that this night prayer is not just a ritual, it's a lifeline. It's where the soul drinks after a long thirst, where the heart is mended after being torn, and where the believer finds strength to continue another day. This is the quiet discipline that separates those who merely believe from those who live their belief. It is the difference between knowing Allah exists and feeling His presence so deeply that you cannot bear to sleep through His invitation. When the world sleeps, Allah's attention turns toward those who have chosen to rise. The night is a sacred space where distractions vanish, where the chaos of the day cannot reach, and where the heart speaks freely to its Creator. The Prophet ﷺ described how Allah descends to the lowest heaven in the last third of the night, asking, "Who is calling upon me so that I may answer him? Who is asking of me so that I may give him? Who is seeking my forgiveness so that I may forgive him?" This is a moment when the veil between the servant and the Lord feels thinner, when Allah's mercy descends like a gentle rain, and when the prayers of the believer carry a weight far beyond words. Those who wake in these hours are the few who truly understand that the unseen is more real than the seen, that divine attention is greater than human recognition, and that Allah's love is closer than their own heartbeat. The beauty of Tahajjud is that it transforms the believer's relationship with time itself. While the rest of the world dreams, the servant of Allah is awake in devotion. Every moment spent in those quiet hours is a conversation with the Most Merciful, a dialogue that cannot be interrupted, a connection that cannot be replicated during the noise of the day. The angels record these acts of sincerity, noting the effort, the intention and the depth of the heart. The Prophet ﷺ said that standing in the night prayer is better than 1,000 rakas performed during the day, not because of quantity, but because of the rarity and the sincerity involved. To rise when the body is heavy, when the warmth of the bed is inviting, is an act of devotion that elevates the soul and draws the believer nearer to Allah. It is during these hours that prayers are answered, sins are forgiven, and hearts are healed. The Quran describes the people of faith as those who arise from their beds in fear and hope, seeking closeness to Allah, and spending from what He has provided them. This combination of fear and hope is the essence of humility, fear that one might fall short, and hope that Allah's mercy is limitless. When a believer stands in the night, every whisper of dua is heard, every tear is counted, and every intention is recorded. The night becomes a sanctuary, where the soul unburdens itself and finds relief in divine attention. The world cannot provide the same intimacy. During the day, prayers compete with distractions, hearts are pulled in many directions, and sincerity is diluted by obligations. At night the servant is alone with Allah. There is no audience, no performance, no pressure to appear righteous. The connection is raw, personal, and intimate. It is in this stillness that transformation begins. The believer's heart becomes tender, their faith deepens, and their perspective shifts. They begin to see life differently, not through the lens of worry and worldly attachment, but through the lens of divine wisdom, mercy and timing. The power of waking at this hour is not only in the act of prayer, but in the preparation it instills in the heart. Those who rise for tahajjud develop discipline, resilience, and a deeper awareness of their dependence on Allah. They learn patience, gratitude and sincerity in ways that the day cannot teach. The quiet hours cultivate an intimacy with the Creator that strengthens the believer against the trials of life. It is a training ground for the soul, a place where hearts are purified, and destinies are quietly rewritten. Those who embrace this sacred time are reminded that Allah is attentive, that mercy is always near, and that the effort to seek Him in the darkness will never be in vain. Rising for tahajjud is more than a ritual. It is a declaration that the servant chooses Allah over comfort, eternity over momentary ease, and devotion over distraction. The night becomes a witness to sincerity, a witness that will speak on behalf of the believer in ways that words during the day cannot. The one who wakes when the world sleeps, and who speaks to Allah when no one else is listening, experiences a closeness that transforms the heart, molds the character, and aligns the soul with divine will. This is the hour when Allah listens, when mercy descends, and when the hearts that answer his call are never left empty. The night is a time of unseen miracles, a time when prayers offered with sincerity reach heights that daytime efforts rarely touch. Those who rise for Tahajjud are granted a unique opportunity to witness divine responsiveness in its purest form, while others are wrapped in sleep. The believer stands in humility, presenting their heart and soul to Allah in whispered conversation. Every dua spoken in that quiet hour carries weight, for it is in this sacred time that the mercy of Allah descends in abundance. The Prophet ﷺ emphasized that Allah descends to the lowest heaven during the last third of the night, ready to answer, to forgive, and to bestow blessings. This intimate interaction between servant and creator is unparalleled, and those who seize it experience transformations that ripple through their lives in ways they cannot immediately comprehend. Tahajjud is not just a ritual, it is a channel for personal revival. When the world is asleep, the distractions of fame, wealth, obligations, and social demands vanish, leaving the believer with a clean space for reflection and connection. In these hours, hearts speak freely, unburdened by judgment or expectation. The believer may weep, cry out for forgiveness, or ask for guidance with raw honesty. It is in these moments that Allah's attention becomes palpable, the heart feels lighter, and the spirit finds solace. Many who commit to Tahajjud report that their anxiety diminishes, their perspective shifts, and their problems appear smaller, not because the world changes, but because the heart has been recalibrated by divine nearness. Throughout history, the lives of the prophets demonstrate the extraordinary impact of this night devotion. Prophet Dawood, as was known for the regularity of his night prayers, and his close connection to Allah, reflected in his leadership, patience and humility. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ made Tahajjud a consistent practice, even after his sins were forgiven, teaching that the night prayer is not for reward alone, but as an expression of gratitude, love, and submission. Their examples illustrate that night worship is a catalyst for spiritual excellence, shaping character and nurturing faith in ways that ordinary daily routines cannot achieve. The power of Tahajjud also lies in its ability to reshape destiny through consistent supplication. It is during these quiet hours that the believer's dua pierces the heavens with clarity. The smallest utterances, the simplest heartfelt requests, are recorded and attended to by Allah Himself. Real-life stories abound of individuals who have witnessed life-changing events unfold following persistent night prayers. Someone struggling with despair may suddenly find solutions appearing in ways unimaginable. Someone burdened with uncertainty may receive guidance through subtle signs, opportunities, or the right people at the perfect moment. These occurrences are not coincidences. They are manifestations of divine attention to hearts that seek closeness when all else is asleep. Moreover, the act of waking up for Tahajjud cultivates traits that extend into every aspect of life. Discipline, patience, perseverance and resilience grow stronger. The believer learns to prioritize eternal gains over temporary comfort, to value moments of sincerity over superficial recognition, and to trust in Allah's timing above all else. The habit of standing in prayer while the world sleeps transforms the heart into a sanctuary for divine guidance. It trains the soul to recognize signs from Allah, to respond with gratitude, and to maintain hope even in the face of adversity. Tahajjud teaches that even the smallest acts, when performed with sincerity, have immense significance. A single rak'ah, a whispered dua, or a tear shed in the night can alter the trajectory of one's life. Those who embrace this practice consistently experience not only spiritual elevation, but also practical transformations, clarity in decision-making, strength during trials, and a profound sense of inner peace. This hour, hidden from worldly eyes, becomes a space where prayers are amplified, hearts are healed, and the believer is subtly prepared for blessings that may be unseen, but are deeply real. In the quiet of the night, Allah answers, heals, and transforms. The one who wakes, even when the world sleeps, engages in a dialogue that transcends time, reaches into eternity, and reshapes the soul in alignment with divine mercy. Tahajjud is a gift, a privilege, and a secret path, through which hearts are renewed and lives are profoundly touched. Tahajjud is not only a practice of devotion, it is a doorway to hope, a pathway to divine blessings, and a preparation for the life that Allah has written for those who respond to His call. The 1% who rise in the quiet hours of the night understand that every moment spent in sincere worship is a seed planted for a future filled with mercy, guidance, and answered prayer. They wake not just to pray, but to cultivate a heart that is attuned to Allah's will, ready to receive what He has destined for them. This act of waking while the world sleeps becomes a statement of faith, a declaration that the believer trusts Allah completely, surrenders to His plan, and prepares their soul for the blessings ahead, both seen and unseen. The essence of hope in Tahajjud lies in the intimate connection it creates with the Most Merciful. When a believer lifts their hands, whispers their heart's deepest fears and desires, and pours out their longing, they are expressing a trust that is unparalleled. Hope is born in that moment, because the servant knows that Allah is listening. The Prophet Sallallahu what urged the station and our most beloved deeds to Allah are those done consistently, even if they are few. Rising for Tahajjud, even for a short prayer, is a consistent act that demonstrates hope, perseverance and reliance on Allah's mercy. Each act, no matter how small, is multiplied in value and serves as a preparation for blessings that may be immediate or delayed, but are always perfect in timing. Preparation is not just about physical action, it is about cultivating the heart. The believer who wakes for Tahajjud develops patience, humility and resilience. The struggle to leave the comfort of sleep and embrace the stillness of the night mirrors the broader journey of life, learning to trust Allah when outcomes are uncertain, to persevere when challenges appear overwhelming, and to maintain hope when everything seems bleak. This spiritual training shapes a heart that is ready to receive not only material blessings, but also emotional and spiritual gifts, such as tranquility, guidance and clarity. Tahajjud becomes a rehearsal for life, teaching the believer how to approach difficulties with reliance on Allah, while remaining proactive in seeking His assistance. The transformative power of Tahajjud extends beyond the individual. Those who rise at night often notice subtle changes in their daily lives. Their interactions become more compassionate, their decisions more grounded in reflection, and their awareness of Allah more constant. The hope nurtured in the quiet hours begins to influence their perspective during the day. Challenges that once caused despair are met with patience, uncertainties are faced with trust, losses are accepted with gratitude. The night prayer is not merely a ritual performed in isolation, it shapes the believer's character, influencing every thought, word and action. In addition, Tahajjud is a time when profound personal requests are made with sincerity, and Allah responds in ways that may not be immediately visible. A prayer may be answered by removing a hardship, opening a new opportunity, or inspiring a solution the believer could not have foreseen. Sometimes the answer comes years later, perfectly aligned with timing that only Allah knows. The act of preparing for these blessings through night prayer strengthens the heart, because hope is maintained even when the outcome is delayed. The believer learns to hold on to faith without demanding immediacy, trusting that Allah's plan is always better than what they imagine. Hope in Tahajjud also teaches the believer to live with intention. Each night becomes a reminder that life is temporary, and that the real treasure lies in the connection with Allah. Those who rise understand that blessings are not merely material, they are spiritual, emotional and intellectual. They are prepared to receive guidance, insight and growth that will carry them through both trials and triumphs. The believer's hope, cultivated through these nightly moments of devotion, becomes a force that sustains them, nourishes their soul, and aligns their life with the mercy and wisdom of their Creator. Rising for Tahajjud is an act of anticipation, a cultivation of hope, and a preparation for blessings that may be hidden, but are profoundly real. The one who answers Allah's call in the quiet of the night trains their heart to trust, their soul to surrender, and their life to receive mercy, guidance and divine favor. It is in this sacred practice that hope is renewed, faith is strengthened, and the believer's readiness for the blessings ahead becomes a living testament to the power of sincere